My friends, today we're going to watch and talk through a video that I've been told contains one of the most acclaimed speeches in cinematic history. This video, the speech, is derived from the 1975 film The Network, and I've been told what is said in this video is more relevant and important to listeners today than it was 50 years ago. I haven't yet watched this clip, so let's play through it together, shall we?
Howard Beale!
George Ruddy died today. Edward George Ruddy was the chairman of the board of the Union Broadcasting Systems, and he died at 11 o'clock this morning of a heart condition, and woe is us. We're in a lot of trouble. So, a rich little man with white hair died. What has that got to do with the price of rice, right? And why is that woe to us? Because you people and 62 million other Americans are listening to me right now. Because less than 3% of you people read books. Because less than 15% of you read newspapers. Because the only truth you know is what you get over this tube. Right now, there is an entire generation that never knew anything that didn't come out of this tube. This tube is the gospel. The ultimate revelation. This tube can make or break presidents, popes, prime ministers. This tube is the most awesome goddamn force in the whole godless world. And woe is us if it ever falls into the hands of the wrong people. And that's why woe is us that Edward George Ruddy died.
I think there's a lot of truth in what he's stated thus far. We'll comment on the message a little bit later in this video, but I want to draw your attention to his introduction. He starts with his hands in the air, creating this sensationalized, bombastic parody of what we often mock up in our minds as the newscaster role. They're there with a very monotonous, robotic tone, making an announcement, and he amplifies that to an extreme. And then he transitions into a diagnosis of this ignorant and misinformed state of listeners. They don't read on a regular basis. They don't read the newspapers. This reminds me of Ed Murrow, was a very well-known person in radio and broadcasting in the 1940s and 50s. And I believe in 58, he gave a speech to the RTNDA. The speech was titled Wires and Lights in a Box. Brilliant, eloquently written oration. And he says that as consumers of this box of wires, lights, and tubes, the television at the time, we have to do our own due diligence and drawing conclusions from a mosaic of information. If all we do is focus on the television and derive our sole funnel of information from that screen, we cannot expect to be an informed and educated populace. And he gives many reasons why that's the case.
Because this company is now in the hands of CCA, the Communication Corporation of America. There's a new chairman of the board, a man called Frank Hackett, sitting in Mr. Ruddy's office on the 20th floor. And when the 12th largest company in the world controls the most awesome goddamn propaganda force in the whole godless world, who knows what shit will be peddled for truth on this network. So you listen to me. Listen to me. Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We're in the boredom-killing business.
That's brilliant. I love that description. We are in the boredom-killing business. And he preceded that with a list of common activities that we use to sedate any feelings of boredom that we have, the acrobatic performances, the festivals, things that we do for the purpose of entertainment, and that visual eye candy is precisely what the television is.
So if you want the truth, go to God. Go to your gurus. Go to yourselves, because that's the only place you're ever going to find any real truth. But man, you're never going to get any truth from us. We'll tell you anything you want to hear. We lie like hell. We'll tell you that Kojak always gets the killer and that nobody ever gets cancer in Archie Bunker's house. And no matter how much trouble the hero is in, don't worry, just look at your watch. At the end of the hour, he's going to win. We'll tell you any shit you want to hear. We deal in illusions, man. None of it is true. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. We're all you know. You're beginning to believe the illusions we're spinning here. You're beginning to think that the tube is reality and that your own lives are unreal. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube. You eat like the tube. You raise your children like the tube. You even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs.
You can see this impassioned, erratic, desperate plea in his movements for people to pay attention, to wake up, to open their minds to how singular their source of influence is in their lives. It almost saddens me in some sense to see the staggering relevance of this message in our generation today. Now, it's not the television. Arguably, for some older generations, that television may still have the same level of influence as it does to the audiences of the 1970s that this character is speaking to. But today, that source of influence is social media. And in my mind, I'm modifying and updating the same points that he's making to people of my generation and my own habits of social. A lot of how we determine our lives, our beliefs, our worldviews, the way that we conduct ourselves, the way that we dress, the way that we converse is nothing but an artificial way of modality that we adopt simply based on what we think is normal, that is preached to us through the television. What also makes me marvel at this presentation is that the words aren't brilliantly written. I think the speech is well crafted, but these aren't some sentences that you're going to quote and people's jaws will drop at such profound insight. They're ordinary sentences. He has vulgarity and cussing in there, but it's elevated to a remarkable level of intensity because of the passion that is the undercurrent of this delivery.
In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion. So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
What did we just watch? Incredible, commendable performance. As much as I'm laughing, I'm also experiencing some bittersweetness, some sadness, because that audience, that studio audience, is in all likelihood just seeing this performance as a theatrical stunt, a parody, another bit in the broadcasting network runtime that is there to amuse them, entertain them, give them bread and circuses. His sentence that he stated about turn the TV off right as I'm speaking this sentence, right in the middle of what I'm saying now, would have been a brilliant time for me to terminate the video. The last thing I will say about this is, from what I've been told, part of a film that has many such speeches like this. We'll react to some of these in a future video. So if you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing. Take to heart this message. And I would encourage you, if you can, maybe shut off YouTube right in the middle of this video, right in the middle of this sentence.